So, did you watch
and
them?
did. I watched it like the day it came out, like that night. Finished it actually. And you know what's crazy is I
How were you able
stumbled
to do
upon it. Like I stumbled upon it. I didn't know that the season. I didn't even know they were making a second season. I think I was just scrolling through looking for something to watch and just popped it on and watched the whole thing. I was like obviously taking breaks and stuff, but I was definitely done by the next day. It was really good. But it wasn't as good as the first season if I'm being
that?
honest. I posted that too.
So, I have not watched the first
At
season.
all? It's so much but you
No,
didn't
but
even
I
you did you finish
kinda
the
know.
season?
So, I did, but I felt like it was, and that makes sense that you said that. I haven't seen season 1, but from a person who I really, when I watch or listen to things, I really dissect it and break it down. From what I was hearing from the show and watching, I was like, it's still taking too long for them to show me what's the red-haired
Mhm.
man's motive. And so I kinda got tired of figuring out what was going on, so I just started reading the description on Amazon and said, "Okay, this gonna be the episode that finally showed me." And so I skipped, like, 2 middle episodes. I skipped when, spoiler alert, everybody, but I skipped when, her foster mama died, and it was something else. And the whole time, what was funny is I was seeing how they was doing the correlations throughout the show of showing how they are still connected as twins,
I didn't peep it for a
of, like, the
long
stuff she was
time,
going through
the
on the
twin
forest.
connection. Like it took me a minute. I knew that I knew there was some relationship going on, but I absolutely didn't know that there was twins until it kind of got revealed. But the first season is so much better, but it play like once you watch the first season, you're gonna be like, wow, I didn't like the connection. I feel like for me, it had a lower rating just because it wasn't as good as the first season. The first season was off the chain, but the way that it connected to the first one at the end, like the very last episode, out that's 5 stars. It was good.
Yeah, with the
Yep.
blackface
I was
man?
talking to one of my friends. She actually said that exact thing. I had text her and was like, "Let me know when you finish this because I want to talk about it." But it was good.
Yeah. I mean, overall, it's good. My boy Luke James, aka Johnny Gill, aka Trig. I don't even know what other stuff he played in, but he really did his thing in that role. He
He
showed some
absolutely showed
range.
range, and he made me laugh, and he had me scared when he spoiler alert invited her to his house and was acting
Mhm.
crazy like that. And then once she get freaked out, he laughing, talking about, "Wow, you're really scared.
Oh, man,
Wow,
that was
you're
good.
really
Yeah,
scared." Like, yeah.
but what threw me for a loop was, like, when he went to the white people's, house, and I guess they got him from the foster place and took him back and all that other stuff, like, and also, I don't understand why he killed the dude that was making drugs.
I don't think his character had a whole ton of motive, like,
No, he did have
outside of him
motive.
wanting to be in I mean, yes, the his trauma from a childhood for sure, but, like, in his adult life, he didn't live a bad life at all.
No, so the people he typically went in, I think he did what he did was he went and killed people, one or two things, did him and his sister wrong, or if it was a twin and then the other one was gone or something. That's why he got the
Mhm.
little boy. So I just still don't know what the motive was about the guy unless he feel like the guy did something to his
You
sister.
know what really made me happy? The guy that they chose to play the son, a regular degular black boy. That made me so happy just to see someone that is your average regular person, nothing special, nothing fancy, just a regular boy.
Right.
And then I feel like that
Mm.
can have other people who are aspiring to be actors to fulfill that dream because it's a look. We know how Hollywood get down, and I just like to see that. It was the characters were very authentic for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with the characters. So I like to say overall. Cause I looked. I was like, is that Pam Grier?
Okay.
And she's
You
like,
know what's
show
crazy? I
is
never
Pam
knew that
Grier.
was
And I was
Pam
like,
Gr You remember Bones with Snoop Dogg? Old, old, old. I
hmm.
didn't know that was her until recently when I was watching the movie. I was watching Bones and I seen her name, like, in the credits, and I was like, "What? That's her?" I was too done.
Did you at least know that was her on Fresh Prince years ago?
Like Fresh, like not Bel Air, but Fresh Prince?
Fresh
No.
Prince.
Who was she?
Do you remember Uncle Phil had this friend that Viv wasn't too
Yes, I do
fond of,
remember.
and
Yeah.
she was real fine. He was like, "Oh, you slept with Janice." Like, her daughter on there was she played what's her name, man? She's a good actor, and she was always playing like somebody mama. And I think was she the old dude boyfriend on? I mean, was she old dude girlfriend on How to
Mhm.
Be a Player? I can't think. Mm-mm. Then my movies right there. Like that's what we can do when they're like a top five like stuff that kind of like movies or
I'm
whatnot.
down for that for sure.
And then Um, outside of that, I know you was asking me about Fargo, and I think I text you Wells Fargo after that. But I remember seeing something about Fargo,
Fargo is off the chain.
and then while you've been watching Fargo, I've been watching All Rise.
Black Judge. Yep. Did you tell
Hmm.
me to watch Shogun? Okay, I
Yes, I did.
started watching the first episode. I didn't get too far because I was like, I don't know if this is because me and my homeboy, we were gonna watch it. He's into all that type of stuff. Cause I think you was like it's
Hmm.
kind of similar ish vibes, Game of Thrones.
I've never seen Game of Thrones, so
You
I would
never
never say
seen
that.
one
But I think
episode. House of Dragon either?
some shows
House of Dragon either?
just no. Some shows have so many like videos and episodes. I kind of be like, I don't want to be the person that's like just
Mhm.
watching it. Like how everybody else knows what's going on. But eventually I may like, do that maybe sometime this
With
summer.
how
I
you
don't
like
know.
stuff, I promise you, you are going to that show is insane for sure. That's how I felt about Walking Dead. I was just like, it's just too much hype. I don't want to watch a show about zombies and ended up totally addicted to the Walking Dead. But House of Dragon, I think the new season's coming on next month. I'm waiting. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. Yeah, we was talking about how I think her real name is Simone Missick, the black lady that's playing the judge. I was like, she's definitely giving us some Jessica Pearson vibes. She's real classy at work. And I liked how they were creative in the show was being shot
Hmm.
during COVID. So they were literally doing the stuff in 20 like early 2020 about like the mask and the freaking face screen and all the stuff that people was doing like when you had these different stuff going on like the courthouse like because they was backed up once COVID happened. It was just a mess. So that was pretty cool. And then the last show, guys, this is like, by the time you probably watch this, we'll have the chapters on here, but the show is real ratchet. It's called The Never Ever
Ooh,
Mets.
wee.
And it's about I feel like it's fake, honestly, but it's about people who are long distance dating, or some of them probably in the
They
same
are in the
state or
same
city,
state, some of them.
and some of them been yeah. So some of them people have been dating for 10 years, some for two, and they never met each other, and so they go to this big house where they're with their significant others. Now it's episode. I think last week was episode 3, and yeah, so episode 4 actually drops tomorrow. So I'm definitely can't wait to watch that. I'm gonna text you
Yeah,
like, is you
I'm caught
caught up?
up.
I
I
think it's a
can't
lot of
wait
funny
myself.
stuff. And also, guys, all 3 episodes are actually on YouTube for free, so you can actually watch them for free on
Yep.
YouTube. But the last episode was funny. I think everybody like in the comments. So I go to their own YouTube channel often and find like they still post on there, and people were saying the same thing that we said about your boy. His name is not Aaron, whatever Joanne or whatever her name is, because like everybody, I watched some review that's like, when we start calling this girl Jody?
I'm
Her name
I'm
wasn't
looking
always
at
Jody.
gassed up now. I don't particularly I like the show a lot. I don't know if I think it's like fake, but some of it definitely is giving like you're boring, you're here for a storyline a little bit for sure.
Nah, some stuff just like funny to me. It's like one girl, like, well, the prettiest woman on there, we was like, this got to be fake because I know she can find somebody. Well, actually, both of them are paired together. Actually, both attractive individuals. So I'm just like, are y'all just here to be on TV?
I don't like Chris.
Then you
I
got
want
your
him to
boy
go home
Chris.
immediate. I don't
Why
like
you don't like
Chris at all.
Chris?
When the first see, that's how people fool you. When the episode first started, I was all for Chris. I'm like, okay, he took her on the exact date that she said she wanted to go to, so he got 10 points for me. Then when they got back to the place and he trying to be cool in front of all the guys, like, yeah, we ain't dating, but y'all are. I ain't got no girlfriend. I don't
They
like her.
not
Like
dating.
I just felt like I feel like he corny. That was corny. That was corny, especially because he had just
I
met
don't
them
think
dudes. So I just felt like he was just trying to show out. Like it wasn't given genuine. I felt like he was being genuine on the date, and then he got around the guys and was just trying to act too macho for me.
I don't think it's got around the ass. I think he saw
Okay,
your
yeah,
girl Jody caught his eye
because they've
bursting.
been cutting up.
So yeah, that
She don't have any
she likes
business
him.
with wait, you talking about Joanna. That's why. Probably the Joanna girl. Her
Yeah.
and Aaron needs to go home. Yeah, I'm not believing any of that. I'm not believing them.
Well, you know, if he go home,
Yep.
she got to go home.
Yep. Diamond and Aaron messy. They want to be in everybody's business. They how do you feel about this or who's the worst couple? Who's arguing the most? Who do you think is going to
They,
last?
you know, they supposed to. They the
They
oldest.
they acting like they are the host of the show. Shay and and Josh, I really like them. Um, Millie and Greg, top two. Them two, they're my favorite two couples. Everybody,
I,
Sienna and Brandon.
I feel like Shay got low self
Why?
esteem because she
Can you
with
please
Josh.
go on?
Not in a okay. Let me say it. Not in a way that you think I'm finna say. Josh has
He do
what 2 kids and she
none,
don't have
and he
none.
had a baby on while they talking. Y'all been talking for 12 years, and he got a baby that's not even 2 or 2 months or whatever he said. It was a crazy time.
So that's why I don't know if the show is real or not. Because it's just like I just think she got like low self esteem, but she really has a good
But you see
personality.
when she mentioned the baby, there was nothing like it was all good vibes for her. Cause I was kind of checking to see how she was gonna bring up the fact that he had
I mean,
kids.
what else can she say?
I mean, people can be
He was
salty.
man. Listen, he was a long distance. I'm just be honest. Long distance relationships not real unless like you got military orders or something.
Man,
They're not real.
you about to make them mad in the comments.
They'll be all right. They know it's not real because there's it's two people. They doing whatever they want to do when they by themselves, and then when they together, they together. That's
What do you
literally
think
it.
about
On top of him having a roommate, first of all, he had a woman roommate, so she can't be that dumb.
thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
he said it was a woman roommate, and you know, like, come on, what you expect?
Wh-
I don't care. Never mind. That'll be Patreon level like
What do you
content.
think
Sure, you could say the person's on the
about
other team,
Sienna
like men, women.
and Brandon? Sienna needs to go
Um,
home immediately. I
Brandon too
cannot
nice.
believe she called him a B word. If like completely unprovoked. Like absolutely unprovoked. And like he's the type of guy and he did say that like on the last episode like pretty much like after she said that that rubbed him wrong, but I knew after she said that day it was never going to be.
She always said in the first episode she don't really know if she like him romantically, and you could
Yeah, she
tell.
needs somebody that's from New York like her.
No, she just it don't have to be what it is. It just needs somebody like, hey, you need to get it together. But at the same time, the show is so stupid because he literally could have just said, I didn't say anything negative about you. I
Now,
said
I
I feel
didn't
like
like
little
that part
things will start
either
to add up.
because it was so and I feel like she had a valid reason to be upset only because she didn't know she doesn't feel too the best about them, especially because everybody been pointing their finger saying they are the couple that's at risk. So I feel like
Right.
the whole thing with how she played that entire situation, it was not a good look. It was not a good look at all for him because you were acting like you was talking about her in a malicious way. All you had to say was what you said.
You- And as women say, I'm actually on the women's side. That was
Absolutely,
gaslighting.
at his finest. At its but he was so over her. That was because he had let her work him up before. So now he was like the boss in my court, essentially.
But at the same time, I don't like how he didn't hold her accountable. I'm like, you asking me what I said, but you was down there talking to Greg,
Yep,
whatever his name is. So it's just like, why you even care?
that was messy.
So that was cool. But let's get into the episode, everybody. Welcome back to the TechTual Talk. I'm your host, HD, and we got our co-host with us tonight.
Destiny.
All right, it's episode 128. And I know y'all listening to us. We got a premiere right now. So if y'all watching them shows, y'all probably may be commenting or y'all like the shows. And we may talk about some other shows. But now we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes. We're getting the meat and potatoes of everything. But if you are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe, like, leave a comment. It don't cost you nothing to leave us a comment. Like I've been saying for a while, join the Patreon. We got some things we want to do with the platform. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you know what to do. Follow us, leave us a review, help us out in the podcast downloads and the analytics. But it's been a while since we seen you guys, and recently this past week I dropped a video about if you worried about applying to that job, apply anyway. Because the worst thing they can tell you is no, and the best thing they can tell you is yes. That sums up the whole video. Oh, and also just always be open to opportunities. Those two things that should sum up the video. But you can check that video out as well. I made it just thinking about people and what they may be going through in a job search because you know it's a weird time, Destiny. I had a consultation with a guy this morning. He's a veteran and he just had some questions about like getting into the industry and stuff like that. And I was telling him, I was like, man, listen, I hate that job searching has become this strategic thing, especially when it comes to get to cybersecurity. I was doing the consultation in the parking lot of Target. I had worked out at LA Fitness. I was like, all right, I got the consultation at 11. And I was like, I remember back in the day, retail, applying to a job, going to find a manager and going to interview that way. I was like, in a perfect world, you could just go to whatever their corporate office is, find a manager, and go try to interview that way. But it's definitely like a game of charades and finesse. And I was like, I really hate that it's like that. It's a lot to go into because I think I got some cool comments on YouTube as well about job requirements and all these different things. And I was telling people like, unfortunately, this field ain't like being a doctor, lawyer, nurse, engineer. Well, not engineer, but architect or anything like that. Like, there's no board or certain things you got to do to be able to at least guarantee you get a job. It's the wild, wild west. And so you can look at it one of two ways. If they kind of put some strict requirements on it, like sometimes the government do that. Like, hey, you need a degree, you need the cert. At least you got a shot at getting like that. But in the private sector, it ain't no telling. So I always tell people my way, not the only way. And that's why I love bringing people on the show that got different backgrounds on how they got in. So I could just say, like, hey, maybe try their way. If my way don't work, try their way and
I
see if
have
it
a
works.
question there because you've been in the industry for a little bit.
Mhm.
And so I'm just kind of curious on how you feel the industry has changed in terms of jobs. So obviously post COVID things have absolutely changed. But I would say past 10 years, how do you feel like the hiring process or even just the job market, like how do you feel like the industry in terms of jobs has changed for the better or for the worst?
Funny that you say that. Did you see that LinkedIn post I did where I quoted the older white man and he was talking about his mentees and some of his biases about hiring?
I don't think so.
So the way I feel about the market, it's very different. Where on one hand, back in my day, 2014, 2013, 2014, a lot of times you didn't directly go straight in security. a lot of us did start off in a help desk or a knock or something. And I tell people now, I say it's different now. If you position yourself the right way and maybe get some internships or something while you're in school, or even if you don't, you could possibly get in a cybersecurity role after graduating. Back then, it was more maybe experience heavy or you got the certs. It was kind of like right time and place. The market was different. It wasn't a lot of people that knew security. Like even the times I got screwed over at my old company 10 years ago, I was one of the people like that was qualified to do the roles because everybody didn't have a security plus. Everybody didn't want to get in cybersecurity. They didn't really know what was going on at the time. So I've seen like there are companies like shout out to Yahoo. They one of the best companies right now, especially when it comes to like want to actually hire entry level people, not really being so strict on their experiences based on they go off of what the applicant knows when they interview them. But so I've seen companies like that where they actually have entry level jobs and they're not trying to pay them like pennies. They're paying them a good wage to live a good life for the job they're doing because it's a high stakes job. Then you got the other companies that are doing these other things. So you got these companies that are stuck in their way of whatever experience they think they may need for the team, yet, which we'll get into in the episode of we keep having breaches. So we got all these experienced people, but we keep having breaches. But we got these people that's probably better than the people you got that can't get an interview because they don't have the requisite experience. So it's a lot of different things. It's back to what I was talking about, how like there's no set way of hiring, which I don't know if that ever changes. Because if they do a set way, I feel like that could be a way to just gatekeep people out of roles. Like before 2020, everybody's giving us free information on like their tech careers and all this stuff. It was a lot of gatekeeping going on. Like the only thing I knew back then was get the Sec Plus. I didn't really, I wouldn't even taught how to use LinkedIn
Mhm.
properly, you know? So
Mhm.
I would say it's different. I still would say it's still bright enough for newcomers. I gave the guy not like like it's not easy, but I gave him a strategy that would help him stand out if he ever got an interview. And it really was. It goes back into building, having your home lab, but having a home lab with a purpose. Like everybody say, "Oh yeah, I got Kali Linux." I'm like, okay, but I need music to my ears. I need you to say, "Hey, I'm replicating, this recent attack we saw by this APT group or whatever." When you say something like that, I'm like, "Oh, okay, tell me more." So that's what I think about it right now.
Yeah. For me, I feel like 10 years ago, it was harder to get into tech. And right after COVID, it was easier to get in tech. And I feel like we're pivoting back to employers gatekeeping positions. Like it's so insane. The most qualified people are being denied. Like you said, it's just it's really the wild wild west. That's the best way to explain it. There's no other way to explain it. It's every man for himself. Even there could be a person with 20 years of qualified experience meeting the requirements of whatever is in that job posting, and guess what? They're going to get auto rejected. So it's I don't I don't I don't like the I don't like the method behind the madness. Like you said, things used to be a lot more organic and authentic, and you could go shake someone's hand, or you were more likely to be able to call and speak to someone at the place, and at the job, and can I speak to your hiring manager? I just turned in an application, like it used to be. That is never gonna happen again, ever. They don't even have phone numbers. These companies are too big. You're never going to get a phone number to call and check on your application.
Facts. And I know you probably see me look at my phone, but like you was talking about people getting denied. I'm looking at these job that I applied to where I applied at this particular day, 11:21 a.m. At 11:50, I was denied,
So not even an hour later.
and I was qualified. And they did the same thing twice. They
Missing
did the
out on
same thing
so much
twice.
good
So,
talent.
like, Right. I always do that though. Like, so, and we're gonna get into it, but this is like the since it's the end of the day, it's like all these different things that go through my head. When certain jobs I want or things aren't going the way that I want them to in that moment, I take a step back and then I try to associate patterns with my life and my job search. And that's what kind of prompted me to make that video that I just made this week. Like it literally, I think she was going to get the girls, so they was out. I think they was like out like whole Sunday, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna record something, and I just started thinking about it, and then I really started thinking like, what was going on in my life at that time that just had to work, and it was right. It was like my when I was going to get the job, they reached out to me in June of 2021. My daughter was going to be born. Well, my second daughter was going to be born in September 2021, and it was like the pieces aligned how they were supposed to. And so right now, if you're still listening, it's like mm, you going through it and like it ain't working. But then slowly and surely the pieces start aligning. It's like always been like that in my career. When I got laid off in February of 2018, I mean 2017. No, yeah, 2018. I got laid off months and months. Had companies ring around and rosy me and ghost me and tell me I'm hired, verbal offers, no nothing official. Matter of fact, hey, keep interviewing until you get an official offer letter, start date, and equipment. Never stop interviewing until you get that. If not, something can happen to you and you can squander some good opportunities. But March goes by. And my birthday's the end of March. So like just like we linked up for my birthday this past March, around that time, we all out downtown Dallas. I had just talked to Talent One on One and Texas Instruments. I was pretty much they was like, oh yeah, you're gonna get this SOC lead role. So like a dummy, I'm out having a good time because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this offer or whatever. Woo woo. Offer never came. Needless to say, April passes, but then May comes, and then May is when the floodgates start coming around. Atos hits me up. Hey, we want to offer you. Optiv calls me. Yo, we want to offer you. And then literally right after I got the Optiv offer, Hilton was hitting me up. They were trying to get me too. So it was just like it started falling, and like Optiv was like the right one. So it sucks when it's not going the way you want it to, but that's why I said in the videos, like sometimes the job you want is not the one you need. The job you need will come to you and it's gonna prepare you for like those next jobs. And
Preach,
it's I think all our lives
preach,
mirror
preach,
that, like
preach.
these patterns that we have to go through. And what that's why sometimes you need either a friend or somebody's level headed. Sometimes you gotta look at the situation from like, 30,000 feet and kind of just look at it from afar. I'm like, okay, ebbs and flows. It's up, we down, we up, we down. Now it's time to go up again. And sometimes you'll maintain for a while. You may go down. Like that's kind of how it goes. Corporate, your real life, relationships, everything. So when you find yourself getting frustrated, take a step back and kind of just look at what's really happening.
Yeah, that's some good advice for sure. And I mean, all of us, everyone has had job. Everyone who works in cyber has not loved every last one of their jobs. Okay, they might not even love their current job, but it's all about, to me, what can you learn, what can you gain, and how can you take this and move on to something else. Like my first introduction to cyber being vulnerability management, that's a lot to swallow, right? You know, at first, coming right out
Yeah.
the back, right off the door to jumping into CVEs every day. So, but I've learned
Mhm.
so much.
Just think if you was
I didn't know I learned that much though until I left.
exactly. Just think if you were still doing vulnerability management though. These
Man,
last couple of weeks when I tell you have been crazy, like the 0 days.
and even outside of vulnerability management, if you don't even know the asset even exists, managing it is
Look, that's a whole nother story. Like people don't even talk about asset management
those tags.
enough. That in this that's
I'm going to
look.
explain
Speaking
that for
of,
people who don't know. So, let's say me and Henry have a company and Henry went and bought 25 servers.
who is Henry?
And you went and bought 25 servers, right? And he never told me he bought those servers, so I never got those servers essentially attached to our vulnerability management solution. So while I'm checking the other 10 that I know of, I don't know that we have 25 more that could potentially have vulnerabilities on them. And so that's the concept behind it. And this happens like way more than you even think. A lot of the times people think things are decommissioned that aren't in fact decommissioned.
Or they got renamed
Yep.
to the same thing. Or let's not even talk about physical assets that people like. We just dealt with something the other day. Well, it really wasn't on us. It was a physical security thing, but somebody stole some assets of the company. I guess they was disgruntled at work, but the machines were not imaged. They never been on a network, so it was like a low level threat. But like, it's your job is really well the whole cyber and even physical. Like a lot of companies, physical security do a lot of things that actually overlap with cyber, and sometimes they don't know that they do. But everything is connected, and everybody. You find out in an incident like how useful everybody is. I can tell you that from personal experience. Like when the fire alarm is pulled and everybody's like on these bridge calls for 3 4 hours, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. It's actually a good way to figure out who's who owns what, and just start making your mental notes, and you have calls to these people. What it's actually something that Tiffany brought up when she was talking about she started working with Log4j happened, and
I'm trying to think. What year was that?
I was
What
on the
year?
sideline.
Because I feel like I was a
2022.
nope. Mm,
It was late
like
2021
what
actually.
month? Summer.
Late 2021,
Okay, then
early
I
2022.
think that was and the Windows print spooler. Those two, insane. Bye.
Mhm. And then even before mid 2022, they had the it was Log4j, then it was Spring 4, whatever it's called. So it came back, but it was different. Like it's always something, and then it's like okay, that's the hard part when it comes. That's why people always talk about like governance, risk, and compliance, but like that's why I tell people it's like important because you have these assets or these asset owners, and they're just doing their job. They're not keeping up with like what's going on, or that's why you got to have a good vulnerability management. Um,
Tool
what's it called?
solution.
Not necessarily a
Hmm.
tool, but a program. Good program where you're doing
Oh,
these
I
things.
mean, I
That's
get
why
what
it's
you mean.
important if
How you're running your vulnerability
like
management within your company. Yep.
right. Like just imagine people have these cloud accounts, but you don't know what they do. Like they just there, but no documentation on who owns the accounts. Like the simple stuff, like people don't like documentation, but they really can save your
Yeah.
life. You'll be messing around and taking stuff off the network that needs to be on there just because you don't have no documentation on it. You didn't know it was an actual change. And now you cost the company
Yep.
$1 million. And they pulling you, they're gonna blame you, but it really ain't your fault. So yeah, that's kind of where we'll go with that one. I hadn't seen that happen yet, but you know. mm. But I think your topic is first,
Which
right?
one?
I think you was talking about the Dell data
Yes.
breach.
So let's let's get into it. So Dell essentially lost their minds. They had a really insane, I'm just pulling up my notes. So
You good.
customer names and physical addresses were exposed. So according to Dell, there was a Dell portal that contained a database, and I love how they said there were limited types of customer info related to purchases. So them saying that to me automatically off rip, they're lying. Limited customer information. So then I read deeper. So it was actually Dell hardware or in order information, service tags, item descriptions, the date these were ordered, warranty details. So on April 29th, the website Daily Dark Web, they reported that someone on a hacking forum essentially was advertising that they had customer information from Dell, and it was between the years of 2017 to 2024. So that
24.
particular person on that forum, they basically said that they had information on 49 million people. And they said that it was, in fact, some personal information. So your name, your address, and so on. So the data that they claimed that they had essentially aligned with what Dell disclosed that was essentially stolen. But 49 million people, and what you have to say outside of that is, hashtagging limited types of customer info related to purchases. I don't know. I just feel like that's fishy the way that they worded it. What do you think about their wording in regards to that attack or breach?
And what's also funny about Dell is, they were pretty much in some heat in social media about like, hey, we're not gonna promote you if you don't come into the office.
Okay.
You
No.
didn't see that?
Like recently?
I could find it.
Uh.
Yeah. Let me see.
It's not your employee's fault that you are still paying for these office spaces, especially if they're still performing. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. If you're performing well, why does it matter where you're at? Unless you have restrictions where you need to be in a certain location.
Yeah, it's Dell workers can stay remote, but they're not going to be
That's
promoted.
insane.
So it's like a right, but that
That
type of
culture,
behavior,
that work culture is insane.
yeah. Well, I know some good people that work at Dell, and I think they stay in Austin. One of my friends. Speaking of, I'm glad I thought about that. I need to ask her when we are going to reshoot. But that type of culture lets me know, hey, we're a Dell, and you should be happy to work for us. So you better come in.
That's exactly what it gives. That's exactly what it
I was
gives.
like, they need to realize, hey, Gateway was here with us, and then it was gone. Now, granted, Dell does more than just sell computers, but
That's that's not a good
people should
stance
just
to
like
take,
realize, hey,
especially today. Um, you lose some good people. It's not uncommon for one company to lay off a ton of people and another company to go pick those people up in the bunch or the package or group or team that they were laid off on, to pick them all up and bring them to their side. So they'll get it together. Thank you.
Change Healthcare hack using stolen Citrix account with no multi-factor authentication.
Womp womp womp.
So they actually did an update on April 30th. They said Change Healthcare Citrix credentials previously stolen by information stealing malware, and whoever their retainer is having a good time right now. They're making a lot of money off Change Healthcare, United Healthcare. United Healthcare confirms that Change Healthcare's network was breached by the Black Cat ransomware gang, who used stolen credentials to log into the company's Citrix remote access service, which did not have multi-factor authentication enabled. So this goes back to me earlier saying about how, because I made a post about this on LinkedIn and I may try to put it here, but this goes back to me talking about how even a novice would know, hey, something important like this, anything we log on onto the network needs to have multi-factor authentication. It needs to be federated. Period. Why they didn't have it like that, I do not know. Because it is sometimes where, because I don't know how, if Change Healthcare was always just that their own thing and then United brought them. So I do know the sucky part sometimes about mergers and acquisitions
Bringing over that
is
trash.
sometimes you take on
Yep.
all the bad stuff that they got going on with their environment, and it takes a while for them to get on the same thing that your company is doing. So this may be an issue where like it's not on United, but it is on United because that's still something dumb. But the United Health CEO Andrew Whitty's written testimony published ahead of a House of Energy and Commerce subcommittee hearing scheduled for tomorrow. Hmm. So, of course, the attack happened in February 2024. This impacted a wide range of critical services used by healthcare providers across the U.S., including payment processing, prescription writing, and insurance claims, and caused financial damages estimated at 872 million. So that's really close to $1 billion. Now, It's much cheaper to just hire capable individuals,
Right?
don't you think?
Right?
This is always so. This is what we always talk about in cybersecurity when it comes to incidents: is not only the money that it costs you, but now your reputation. But the only thing that benefits insurance in this thing right now is insurance kind of got a monopoly on everybody. You're either going to use what Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, United Healthcare, some other ones out there, but MetLife, like some people got different things, but for the most part, they're like a big. I just thought about Kendrick Lamar, but I think it's like a big three or something. Destiny, can you look that up while I'm reading this? See if like what's the big three of like healthcare, or whatever.
I got you.
So that's typically what we see a lot of. Previously, the Black Cat ransomware gang claimed they had received a $22 million ransom payment from United Health, which was stolen from the affiliate who conducted the attack. Ran off on the plug
Top
twice.
3.
He started calling, I ain't
Top
calling
3
bite.
United Health Group,
He said he kissed me on his last
United
album.
Health Group, Cigna, and Elevance Health are the top 3 healthcare systems in the US.
Yeah. So it's pretty much like what we got going on now when it comes to Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. Most of the time, you're going to be with one of those three, regardless of what you feel. There are some smaller ones that you could be with, but for the most part, no matter how many times they get hacked or all these other things, like they're going to be in business. They've
Yep.
made it that way. So it's like a pro and a con. So an easy break in, they say, let's see, for the first time, the company is also officially confirmed that the ALPHV Black Cat ransomware operation was behind the attack. While the actual public facing attack occurred on February 21st, Witty revealed the attacker had access to the company's network. Duh. Most of the time, when you realize you hacked, it's too late. If you're reading this, it's too late. Shout out to Drake. You have to already assume, in a lot of cases, you already compromised. But for them to be in your environment for 10 days means that your alerting, your detections, everything
Sucks.
is bad. You didn't have anything else picking up on
You know what's crazy is they
unusual
probably were
activity.
getting the signals. They probably weren't looking in that software or tool, at those alerts, which happens a ton. And I really like that.
Yeah,
I think I don't know if I believe it was just 10 days. Yeah,
it's
like
probably
maybe that's
longer.
just what they
I
know
don't
right
think it's
now. But 10 days it had to be longer than that for the impact of the attack based on what we've been seeing.
Yeah. So it says the investigations, which are still ongoing. So I haven't even found like any updated stuff on this, and they probably are eventually going to release it because I think Change Self Care is a subsidiary of United, and I want to say the SEC got these new protocols, especially when it comes to healthcare, where you have to say this different stuff about when you was hacked and all this other stuff. So February 12th, 2024, they were hacked and using stolen employee credentials. It is unknown whether those credentials were initially stolen via phishing attack or information stealing malware. They probably were stolen by both, to be honest. Um, the portal did not have multi-factor authentication. Once the threat actor gained access, they moved laterally within the systems in more sophisticated ways, and exfiltrated data. Ransomware was deployed 9 days later. So this is why when it comes to lateral movement and being sophisticated and, like I said, unusual authentication, or not authentication, but unusual or
Abnormal.
abnormal
Yep.
activity, right? It takes you to be a person that's has some experience in doing this stuff, because a smart person isn't gonna go in there and all of a sudden, hey, I'm going to make an email rule, then forward all the stuff here, and it's going to delete so you don't see it. They're not. That's going to be noisy. Because one of my companies, we would look for stuff like that. Like if someone was going out of the domain and it went on the approved senders list, like it was first of all, it's automatically blocked. It had to be approved. So that's like an easy way for people not to be able to exfiltrate data that way. That these people are probably looking for like different ports that may be open and if they could connect to since they're already in the system. And they're gonna not make a lot of noise. They're gonna probably move the least amount of data as possible versus triggering an alarm. And so those are things you gotta worry about. So now you gotta use things like UEBA, where you're saying, okay, let's look at these individual accounts and see if they match up based on the data. Are they logging in when they normally do? Like, why are they doing this? They just perform this function. That's how you kind of try to combat some of that stuff, even though at the time you're already compromised. You just got to contain and stop the bleeding. But like I said, it was too late for them. So the CEO was talking about how they made the choice to pay the ransom, and it was entirely in his one of the hardest decisions he had to make.
He's lying.
Honestly, the reason why you don't want to pay the ransom is because you incentivize other people to pretty much start attacking your company. Say, okay, we know they're gonna pay, so we get back in. We don't need 22 million. Shoot,
I
just
don't
give
feel
us
like it
5.
was I
So
don't feel
that's
like
what
it was
people.
the hardest thing because if you don't pay it, right? Of course we know you're not supposed to pay
Well,
it, right? But if you don't
right.
pay it, right? It's over. Company's over. Your reputation is over. So, I mean, I'm sure it was a hard decision, but it was still an easy decision because you didn't have another choice. You didn't have another choice. The company wouldn't have been able to succeed or even proceed. So, yeah.
I wonder. I didn't look and see like what it says ransomware. So, um, but see, the thing I don't like about that is like it just sucks. Like, cause we have another. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday when Assertion they were hacked. Like these people don't have any morals at
None.
all. They are not Mr. Morale. So it's like that's why I foresee healthcare. Healthcare is one of the places where like it's a lot of good job security and they do need people. It's probably hectic. But you will definitely get the I would say like I like doing jobs where I know what I'm doing on my end is helping for like the greater good. So getting into healthcare of knowing, hey, I'm helping prevent something like this from ever
Yep.
happening again. And that's why when I say diversity in teams, I'm not just talking about skin color. I'm saying people from different industries. You need them on your team. They've seen different things and they can come in and say, hey, do we have any detections for this or why are we not looking for this? Like, I've never seen this fire. Like, let me see the logs. Get me with the threat hunting team and tell them to look for this stuff and see if we actually getting these logs in and see what we actually see. That's how you actually have a strong team. If you hire all the same type of people, you're gonna miss some stuff.
You definitely will.
So that's why hiring actually needs to change too, from like what we were talking about earlier. And so following the attack, the organization IT team replaced thousands of laptops, rotated credentials, completely rebuilt, changed healthcare's data center network and core services in just a few weeks. With each stage, such a task would usually have taken several months. Translation, they just threw some stuff together just to get to the point where they can actually conduct business.
In all actuality.
No data samples that leaked on.
I said in
What you
all
say?
actuality. Yeah.
Yeah. Although data samples that leaked online contain protected PHI and personally identifiable information, Whitty notes that so far they have seen no evidence. But this is not the article I'm looking for. There's an article where he said about 1/3 of the people have were affected. See if I can find it.
Somebody in the comments said, I hope they save 872 million not deploying MFA on a public service. MFA sure can be pricey at a few dollars or free, depending on implementation.
I found the article. But that stuff be killing me, bro. You want to grill me in the interview, and y'all can't even do simple
Someone else
stuff.
said, this is utter incompetence. This would be negligence for a small business to open a publicly accessible Citrix portal without MFA, let alone a large corporation like this. There needs to be some type of accountability for this type of thing. A read.
So I found the article. It says, let me zoom in on this thing. United Healthcare CEO says maybe a third of U.S. citizens were affected by the recent hack. You know how many people that is? Well, you already got AT&T finally sent me a letter saying, "Oh yeah, your data's out there, bro.
So
You ain't trying to give me free
how long
internet for the whole year."
between when you were notified and you received when you were notified by whatever service that you utilize versus the time you received your letter?
A while. Think about it. Whenever when did we
Yep.
record in March? Exactly. I just seen the thing yesterday, so I've been new, and this is not even like a sponsor thing for Aura, but y'all see aura.com in the description. It's not really a sponsorship right now, but like I said, I'm not just telling you to get it so I can get paid. I'm telling you to get Aura because it's going to alert you faster based on that technology and all the other added benefits that they have with the service over relying on a company that only really wants your money in the long run to tell you some stuff. Because I mean, hey, think about it. It's just a slap on the back. Oh, yeah, we know your data's out there. So we're going to give you this free credit monitoring. Granted, I'm going to call them like, yo, I already got credit monitoring. Can y'all make my internet free for the whole year? And we'll be square. Matter of fact, make my internet free for the next 5 years.
Yeah. And in
I'd be good
regards
with that.
to Aura,
Like
I
something.
did recently go ahead and purchase a plan with them, and just protect yourself. It's really it's not, you don't, just like with companies, you don't think it can happen to you until guess what? It happens to you. And by the time it happens, it's too late. So be proactive and be able to receive the support, because it's nothing that one person can do for themselves. So if you can afford to make sure that you are protecting your identity in that way, take a look at the plans, because I promise you it's worth it. Is there's so many benefits.
Right. Oh, so all this article, it's like a video and he's like reading. I guess he's at a Senate hearing. I don't know what. Yeah, Senate Finance Committee holds hearing on the Change Healthcare cyber attack, and that's another reason why I tell people too. Like, as much as like technical all this stuff is, when they like they say, excuse my French, but when the shit hit the fan, somebody don't nobody want to just go to the Senate and you got them on the hook. It's like the people all they reading is like the executive reports. Like when the incidents happen and they looking at all this other stuff, what's the bleeding? How much is going to cost us? Did we get affected? How effective are our countermeasures? Like this is a mess. Like y'all should be everybody should be on Change Healthcare website right now looking for jobs. People shouldn't even need experience.
Thanks.
They shouldn't need experience at all.
Okay.
What's the
I
next thing
got
you got?
a I got the massive web shop fraud ring. Steals. I'm pulling it up. So there was a massive web shop fraud ring that steals credit cards from 850,000 people. So a massive network of 75,000 fake online shops called Bogus Bazaar tricked over 850,000 people in the US and Europe into making purchases, allowing criminals to steal credit card info and attempt to process an estimated 50 million in fake orders. Additionally, millions of credit card details were resold on dark web marketplaces, allowing other threat actors to purchase them and perform unauthorized online purchases. So there's a German cybersecurity firm called Security Research Labs, GmbH, and they advised that the network has attempted to process an estimated 50 million in fake purchases since that operation launched 3 years ago. But you want to know what's interesting about this particular incident? Most of the victims are concentrated in the US and the western part of Europe. But there are virtually no victims from China, which is thought to be the base of that operation. So they basically created 750,000 fake websites or web shops since 2021, but they recently diminished to over 22,500. But they're hosting those shops on previously expired domains that have a good reputation with Google, and then they're pretending to sell shoes and clothes, of course, at very low prices. So those sites were created automatically and they have custom names, logos. So obviously they put in some effort and it does have a bit of quality to it to help you believe that it's legitimate. So they're not they're not that crazy enough to think that they don't have to put effort in. They're putting effort in to get that money. The payment pages on these sites either collected the victim's contact and credit card details or they stole the people's money via PayPal, Stripe, or other credit card payments for non existent orders that would obviously they'll never receive. What else do we have here?
I got one that I didn't put on here, and it was just to like let people know. This is kind of like a so we're talking about these different attacks, right? And if you stay in the know and you just bring up like what you had done to okay, one, of course, make MFA on the Citrix thing. Like
Oh
I'm just
yeah,
going back
yeah.
to the change
Enable
healthcare thing.
MFA. Thank you.
Two, detections, but also what type of things could you do with MFA? Like worst case scenario, let's say an employee is compromised. Like how could you make sure nobody would log on from their machine on the company's assets? And
Revoke their
there's a thing
tokens.
called conditional
Yeah,
FA
I was gonna
policies.
say. I was gonna say
What was
revoke
that?
their tokens, but that is in line with conditional access policies, because that's something you can always do as
Yeah.
well. So, yep, immediately blocking
Yeah,
them
it
if
makes it
because they
easier.
in that circumstance, that account would have most likely not been at a low level of risk, so it would have triggered an alert because their risk was so high and then that would have triggered a conditional access policy to do whatever it was set to do. Yep.
Yeah, I actually wanted to talk about today's sponsor, ECA, Ellington Cyber Academy. If you're looking to get into cybersecurity, they can definitely help you out with that. Here's some of the things that they can offer you. They have a partnership with Splunk and Sentinel One, detailed hands-on training designed for professionals who want to understand just beyond the service level for SIM and SOAR. They specialize in SIM and SOAR technology stacks such as Splunk, Splunk ES, XOR, etc. Nice. Also, you'll be able to be in the program until you reach your end goal of a new job, career, or a better salary. They're also partnered with my company for our career, resume, and coaching services. And you'll get access to industry leading professionals and hiring managers. And check this out. Currently, they have a special going on for the first 3 people who sign up for the month of May will get $1,000 off their payment for the Cyber Career Boost program. So that's ECA Academy, and the link will be in the description.
I will dive into the Wichita ransomware attack. So the city of Wichita shuts down IT network after ransomware attack. So Wichita, if you don't know, largest city in Kansas, has a population of about 400,000 people, which ranks them among the top 50 largest cities in the US. So the city actually confirmed that they suffered an attack on Sunday, which their IT systems were encrypted with ransomware. So, in response, of course, they went ahead and shut down their network to prevent the spread of that ransomware to other devices. But they're not known, or it's unknown at this time if any data has been stolen. But of course, we know with those ransomware attacks that typically they are in those systems and exfiltrating some data to use to further their schemes to get the money. But basically, what they said was we completed a thorough review and assessment of this matter, including the potential impact. And they're basically saying that assessments of these type of incidents take time, which is true. They do need some time to perform their investigation. But of course, the city is, I'm sure, wanting to know what's going on. So the city states that their online payment systems for the city are shut down, including those paying for water bills and court citations and tickets. So I actually clicked on like another link that took me to like the city's website, and it's like a FAQ page on like what to do in the event that your water got shut off or your lights got shut off because you weren't able to make payment, which is like absolutely insane. And on the FAQ page, they're just like, bring proof of payment to the office and we'll make sure your water's turned back on. So just really thinking about the extent to which these type of situations can occur and impact your life. Your lights are off because you couldn't pay your bill because the system was down because of a ransomware attack. Or think about the any event that you have someone in your home who is ill and they need to be hooked up to some type of electronic device, but you don't have electricity or whatever it may be. So that's just insane to me. I want to see maybe like next video kind of what progresses with that investigation and what is uncovered because it just happened, so they don't have a ton of info at this time, or if they do, they just haven't released it.
I just want to know, why is everything but student loans getting hacked?
That is, we're the hacktivists.
Hey, Russia, I'll give you my account info. Hack Mahalia student loans. Like, that's all you gotta do. Like,
they
hack it
they
and never
really
give them the
want
data
all the
back.
money back, and they just throwing money out here into the atmosphere for things that have nothing to do with Americans.
Right. I'm just like, all that money change healthcare. Y'all could have paid everybody loans off.
No, seriously.
Or some.
Seriously.
But no, that's one of the ways. Like, companies, listen up. Y'all always want to know how y'all want to be able to keep good talent. Shoot, offer to pay some of their loans off. Some companies are doing this now where, like, they will, whatever you put in your 401k per year, they'll put that towards your student loans.
Instead
So
of
some
401k
companies
or
are
in
doing that.
addition?
No, they're doing in
Ooh,
addition. It's a write off for
sign
them.
me up.
Yeah. Yeah, look it up. Look it up. That might be something we talk about one day because we have some episodes coming up. I need to see my boy Eric coming in town. Maybe we can make it that be a 3-way episode. I don't know. But it's one of the episodes where we discuss this all the time when we talk about, like, when you're choosing your job and really to look at the company financials and figuring out, like, okay, if they ain't made money for 2-3 years, why should I come here? Because that could potentially
That's
mean they're not making money and you might be laid off.
it. Ain't nothing up.
So, speaking of, like I said, it's the year of the hacks. I brought this up earlier, but Ascension Healthcare takes systems offline after cyber attack. Ascension is one of the largest private healthcare systems in the United States, and they took some systems offline to investigate what it describes as a cybersecurity event. As a major U.S. nonprofit health system, Ascension operates 140 hospitals and 40 senior care facilities across 19 states and Washington, D.C. It also employs 8,500 providers, has 35,000 affiliated providers, and 134,000 associates. In 2023, it reported a total revenue of $28.3 billion. A lot of money. So on Wednesday, May 8th, they detected unusual activity on select technology network systems, and they believed it to be a cybersecurity incident. And so they responded immediately and initiated their investigation and activated their remediation efforts. Access to some systems have been interrupted as this process continues. Now, I saw this on my Twitter timeline, but a medical doctor named Natalie Siriani said the cyber attack on the largest hospital system in the country today. No one knew where the forms were. Thank God we have a separate sign out with our PT meds. I don't even know what that means, but I'm just reading what she wrote. Nurses were writing them down from memory. This is a new reality. We need to be better prepared. The EMR was completely down. I don't know how many times I rounded today to make sure my patients got their meds or to check their vitals, but boy, did I get my steps in today. And so she said clinical operations disrupted. Ascension added that the incident also disrupted clinical operations, and ongoing investigation is now assessing the impact and duration of this disruption. It has also informed the relevant authorities of the cyber attack and hired mandated Good old Mandiant. Well, technically they're not Mandiant. It's like Google. I want to say it's like Google Cloud or whatever, but like Mandiant exists, but really it's under Google's umbrella now to assist with the investigation and remediation processes. And let's see. Okay, yeah. Last month, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services warned that threat actors are now using social engineering tactics to target IT help desks in the healthcare and public health sector. These attackers trick employees into enrolling new
Haha, because they know that even you should have it.
No, it's not even that. All these things could be alleviated from standardized, simple processes at a help desk level. I remember working at a place and something similar happened where it was like something happened where a person called in like, yo, I don't remember. I got a prompt on recognize on my phone. And then I did some research. I saw that in a ticket, somebody got another device on there. I was like, that's odd to me. And at the time, I kind of wrote it off. A couple of weeks, a week or two later, that's like, yeah, they were compromised. Yada yada yada. If you cannot verify, if the person can't verify who they are, in most companies they either use an SSO or they got some type of primary ID. There are some things they use to verify themselves in order to unenroll or enroll on MFA if they need the help desk help. Because if you technically don't need the help desk because you can do it on the on intranet if you're on the system. If not, they need to direct that person that's in person and say, hey, okay, well, we can't verify you, so have your manager send us a ticket or call us to get it done. It's literally all you got to do.
Can please let me talk? Please let me talk about that because that's
Go ahead.
really what's happening, especially since the MGM thing. Companies are so scared to let their employees use MFA that they're making more work for themselves. A smart thing that you can do is like come up with an alias system for your employees. For example, I worked at a job where if we called the help desk, we had to give them our alias and not we only knew the alias. This wasn't an alias that was in the public work
Right.
directory or anything like that. It was to
Like
yourself. So let's say
your
my
single sign
alias
on
is
number.
yeah, let's say it's 4Q39. That's it. Let's just say that's my alias. So I call the help desk. I'm like, hey, this is me. I need to reset my password. To verify me, they're going to be like, of course, what's your name? But then they're going to be like, well, what's your alias? And if you don't got your alias, if you don't know your alias, I mean, they're not going to help you. But companies are so scared following that the MGM casino help desk breach incident that they're making all their employees call the help desk. So they've disabled the ability for their employees to reset their passwords because they want them to call the help desk because they want to verify their identity, but they don't have anything legitimate in place to really verify that identity. I can call and say that I'm you. You can call and say that you're me.
Yeah, not only that, I know MGM, it was a little bit tricky too because they SIM swapped. So they were able to SIM swapping and get those pushes. So like sometimes they push it to the phone, you can get in that way. That's why the conditional access makes more sense in cases like that. You do have companies now that are moving away from doing the
Passwords.
MFA pushes because the MFA fatigue. So back in my day on the TSA network, they used the RSA tokens. And so what
The
you
hard
see
ones.
is there's nothing new under the sun. A lot of companies are going back to using these hardware tokens that are much more secure than you logging in and at 3 in the morning, like, man, what's hitting the button and somebody compromise you because you're just trying to go to sleep. Your thing keep on vibrating. So
You know what's crazy is there's also with certain software, whatever you're using, that you can set up to receive a notification. Like through that MFA prompt, you can say, this wasn't me.
yeah,
This wasn't, but if you don't have it set up, or even if you do have it set up, where's that notification going to? Is it just going to your log or is an alert being created for someone to take a look at?
yeah. And the best case scenario is an alert happens where it makes a ticket or it
A
goes
ticket?
into
Yep.
to the sim to where now, what happened? And then that's when they start telling you, okay, we're going to check the proxy logs, we're going to check Okta, and we're going to see what's going on and why they said this wasn't them. Because sometimes you had the times like where we'll be looking at like somebody failed like MFA, but it's because like it was an Office app that they were using. It was just like trying to recycle. Then you start looking at it and say, okay, this is from a different phone, it's a different IP. They're not on a VPN, just not making sense. Like that's where it gets into it. And that's when, like I said, I always say about 98, about 99.9856789.2% of cybersecurity is common sense. It's less
Absolutely.
of the technical stuff, but common sense will take you far. And so I know your last thing was talking about the Wichita thing. Um, really briefly, I will touch on. I don't even have to look at the article, but there was rumblings like an Intel broker was acting like they had some data from Zscaler. For y'all that don't know about Zscaler, Zscaler is a company that companies use pretty much that helps like proxy their traffic. It's, for example, like when you're on your company's internet or company's network, when you're searching stuff, Zscaler has like a designated like category, whatever their website is. If it's a malicious category or something like that, it's designated to be malicious, it'll block it. So it does that. Zscaler provides VPN. Zscaler provides like a lot of different services. It's like pretty much is a cloud provider. It's in the realm of kind of, I want to say like a lot of stuff that Cloudflare offers. I could be wrong, so somebody could fact check me on that. It's late. I've been up a while, but there were rumblings about like Cloudflare. I'm sorry. There were rumors that Zscaler had been hacked and that some of the customer information was out there, which is a big thing because if you're acting as a proxy and company's information is going through your company and you get breached, open the floodgates. There's so much stuff they can see. But that's not what actually happened. What Zscaler said the rumors are false. What they did notice is a test environment was like accessible to the public. However, it was not connected to their network at all. So no type of customer information or Zscaler like primary information was on there. So there is no real threat to that. So they pretty much put that to bed. But you can do scare tactics with anything. Just if you just have a reputable name, and it's kind of something we've been seeing in this beef the last month. If you got a reputable name and just say something, people gonna believe it until you prove it to be
Yeah.
false. So that's kind of how I wanted to like round that out. You see how I made that Zscaler stuff make sense to y'all? I know y'all been out there crit walking. I know y'all been out there, repping for y'all fake sets. I know what y'all been out there doing. You tweeters and deleters. But this next post really quick was, where is it? I thought I had it pulled up. And I thought it was pretty interesting. I saw it, and I need to follow this thing on Reddit. It's our layoffs, and it said laid off after 30 years. And the person said, I worked for a smaller law firm in Connecticut for the last 30 years as a legal assistant. We had a cyber attack on our system, and as a result, an extremely large amount of money was intercepted by Russian criminals doing a real estate transaction. Now, I'm going to infer right here, I know exactly what happened. One or two things happened. The law firm was compromised, or the real estate people were compromised. And when the Russians got in, they figured out who was moving the money. They set up a typo squat domain, and then they interjected themselves in the conversation, and they started flowing. And so they had them send the money to them versus the people that really needed it. That's probably what happened. But,
What's a typo squatted domain?
huh?
It means one. Oh, I just said, what is a typo squatted domain? And I said, just one character. Even one character could be off.
Yeah.
So if
And
it's google.com, it could be toogle.com.
yeah. Or it'll be something like, so how they'll do it is it's like,
Something that's to
uh,
trick your eye to thinking that you think you saw something legitimate.
yeah. So like, for example, my one of my domains is the TechTualTalk.com. And so a typo squat would be where all the L's are. Instead of an L, it'd be an uppercase I. So you'll be looking at it like it's saying the textual talk, but it's really not the textual talk.
Yep.
But the text of it will say textualtalk.com. And so when you click on it, you'll think you're going to Textual Talk, but it's actually something else. And that's how they get you. So you got to pay attention to domains or what they go to. Like if you're not sure where domain goes to, hover over it, see what it actually goes to. If not, report the fish. Let your security team take care of it. We'll definitely say thank you for sending this to us. And then that's when we get our intel teams and we say, hey, domain takedown. So that's they use like third party software to take those domains down because that's the thing. Like you just sit in the cut and compromise somebody, and those are the people. They're not trying to get big money. They're like, psh, listen,
They cool with what they get.
they're
They
getting millions
cool.
of dollars too, but it's on a very low, and they run off on a plug. Let me finish this story. The hackers contacted us the next day demanding a ransom, which was not paid. The FBI was involved in all the things. The stolen funds were not recovered. That client is now suing the firm. The firm had to notify existing clients of the breach, and as a result, one of our largest and long-standing clients used it as an opportunity to fire us. For 2 weeks, the partners tried to negotiate with the client to stay, but in the end, they severed the relationship and then came to layoffs. We just said it earlier. These are real life scenarios. Lose money, reputation. Two things. That reputation actually harder to get back than the money.
Axe
Ele-
Target.
Yep. 11 of us were let go on March 15th. It has been devastating as many of us were longtime employees. I had the second highest number of service years of the employees who were let go. There are less employees that remain than were laid off. It remains to be seen if the firm will even survive the next year without the income for the client that pulled out. I'm so angry that I lost my job due to Russian cyber terrorists. I'm angry that the firm became complacent about cybersecurity. The in-house IT guy was fired and never replaced.
Ooh, wee, that's ugly.
After we went back into the office after working remotely for over a year and a half during COVID. I'm 61 and was close to being able to retire in about 6 years. My 401k was looking sweet. I was contributing regularly to my HSA, and the plan to retirement was moving right along until this. I received a very laughable severance, 2 weeks. 2 weeks for 30 years?
Oh my God, that's sick.
Listen,
And
Chris,
he's 61?
Chris Brown made a song about not being loyal. I suggest you follow it. 2 weeks? But in their defense, they probably couldn't even afford to pay
They
nobody
probably couldn't even pay that 2 weeks, I ain't
because
gonna
they was a
lie.
smaller
Yeah.
firm. And that's the thing too. So I remember I had a consultation a couple of months ago, and hopefully he watches this. But he was working IT for a law company, and I was like, bro, I showed him how we can look for security jobs for law companies. You already know how they operate. They're more inclined to hire somebody that already know how like the law works or law firms work. Everybody needs somebody. Y'all stuck on like the big tech companies and all this. Please believe these law companies will pay you some big money to keep their stuff safe. Y'all watch How to Get Away with Murder. That's all I'm saying. I'm anxious to get back to full time work. This is my question. When getting a resume done, do I include my employment prior to 30 years? Listen, they're going to be like, what was their job again? They were legal assistant. They're probably going to be like, okay, look, I don't know what you finna do right now because we got AI.
That's
We
so
can hire
sad.
I
So
feel
they feel
bad for you.
like basically, yeah, they basically feel like, can I even put that on my resume? And that's just it's a sucky position to be in.
That person is around my dad's age.
61
61.
is that's sick, man. That's sick. I ain't gonna lie. That's
Yeah,
sick.
but that'd be the thing. Like, I don't know why they would fire that person. Why don't you fire your IT person? And that's the thing too.
And not rehire them? What? Because they didn't know. They didn't know. That's why. Because they didn't know. They didn't know that that was detrimental. They didn't know. They probably like believed a little bit that they was going to have some issues, but they were thinking more password reset stuff. They weren't thinking Russians are going to intercept the payment that we're doing.
Man, it's just really convenient. Like it's convenient to always just blame Russians for everything. But to be honest, It might not even been no Russians, but it sounds
I'm
cool.
just when that was like the first sentence. Like, how did they know that was the
Right.
Russians?
It just sounds cool to say the Russians did it, but it could be somebody in his boxers that did it. Like, that sucks though. But that's the thing. Like, people be so arrogant. That's your risk acceptance, and now you have to lose your biggest contract and lay people off. Not only lay people off,
And your
you lay
reputation is
people
on
off
the
that's been there
line.
for 30 years. And the words of my boy CJ Goodfellow, the game don't love nobody.
Man,
That's what I'm gonna tell you when it comes to stuff like that. The game don't love nobody. So I tell you, hey, always be open to opportunities. I'm pretty sure that 61-year-old about 10 years ago, somebody said, hey, would you like to be an executive assistant at this financial company? Like, I see them people. Like, I work with those people at as my first financial company. Like, there was a right hand man to the top person there. If you want to get on their schedule, you have to reach out to them.
you know what? The part that took me out. I'm sorry. Nobody was there for upgrades. That's all they needed right there.
Hey Siri,
That's all they needed.
play Beyonce Upgrade You. Let's see if we play it.
Upgrade You by Beyonce now playing on Apple Music.
Side note, this is one of my favorite Beyonce songs.
Really?
I used to like the little video, the little dance she was hitting on Upgrade You.
It had to be the video.
But I like the
Yeah.
song. Like, I
Because
like
ain't the
all
video
her
black and white?
Jay-Z songs, huh?
Ain't it black and white, the video?
No, you think about Dance for You.
No. Where she was acting like Jay-Z in that chair? I thought that scene was in black and white. Or maybe I'm tripping.
Oh no, you talking about
And
maybe
she
what
had
she
got
had
him.
on. It was sometimes where she was acting like Jay and then Jay pop out. Yeah, that's what you talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like all these songs. So I say, don't be, shout out to the dream.
Devices Unpatched is crazy for a year. Is that how are they even working?
I really feel bad.
A year?
Yeah.
Do you know how
61
crazy your laptop act if you don't update it after one update?
61. That's gonna be killing me. These people can't compete in the market anymore.
Somebody said, can't help but wonder whether this in-house IT guy could have saved them from their own stupidity. He's lucky he was fired because they would have thrown him under the bus.
That's facts.
Actual factual. That business email compromises kicking their tails. Kicking their
That'd be the
tails.
main thing in certain industries. Like, it's like if you know people in a industry where they handle like a lot of contracts and stuff like that. And I immediately really thought about Suits. I thought about Jessica Harvey and Mike and all them like having to deal with this, but they had like a real. I mean, they even got some stuff over on that IT guy, but like, man, that sucks. Let's share this one. So, guys, I'm going to play a TikTok for you guys about iOS. Well, it really is like what people who aren't technical think about Android and iOS. So, to the beginning.
You mean to tell me iPhones been being discriminatory against Androids on purpose? Whole time I thought that was just the mechanics. You feel me? I thought that the reason that, you feel me, Androids text iPhones and it's green, that's just they couldn't help it. That was their mechanics. But no, because why is Apple being sued
She got to
by
be from
the
Baltimore.
Department of
This is random, but I feel like she's from Baltimore. I'm gonna check after this, but I feel like she's from Baltimore.
Justice for creating things to make it seem like the consumer has no choice but to use Apple products for Apple products, basically monopolizing their products and making it very hard for Androids to interact with iPhone products and not be treated like it's a different brand. Examples of this include when you get pictures from Androids and they always look a little dusty, but when you get a picture from an iPhone, it's always clear. I thought that was just the technology and the mechanics. No. Another example of this is like I mentioned earlier, when you get a text message from an Android it could be blue, but Apple was like, "No, we're gonna make it green," so they be feeling icky and gross when they text the Androids. You see, it's all marketing. That's crazy. iPhone versus Android is literally a marketing scheme, a marketing tactic. Because in fact, I worked in phones, and iPhones and Androids literally have the same exact qualities, everything. Sometimes Androids have more advanced technology, if you will, and iPhone will get it years later. This, that, and the third. They make each other's parts. Another example of this is when you transfer data from an iPhone to iPhone, it's a seamless and flawless experience. Ask me how I know this. I sold phones for years before I got into marketing. But from iPhone to iPhone, it's a seamless transition. From Android to iPhone, you're going to have all type of difficulties, all type of things not working, and everything not transferring over. So it's all literally making sense. Like for years, I knew Androids and iPhones were no better than one another. But what I didn't know was Apple was doing it on purpose. They're literally doing it on purpose. So for the whole, which one is better, iPhone versus Android, they the same. Different brand, same purpose, same thing.
She must wasn't good at selling phones because she didn't even know how to say, "Hey, the reason why it was green because Apple chose to SMS outside of iMessage, and Android got to the point way back in 2016, 2017. They adopted what is called RCS, which stands for, I believe, Rich Communications Systems. I could be wrong, but I've had 3 Google Pixels. And this allows you to do the same thing with iMessage. Chat replies, message bubbles, thumbs up, all these different things, clear videos, everything. So when I used to have a Samsung type of phone, I would have to send a link like of the video so you can get it clear versus trying to just send the video and then it looked distorted and people are it kind of like it's one of those things where and it's come out the wrong way. When you know you like smarter than like the person you sending stuff to and they're like cracking jokes, thinking like, oh, your phone is trash. Like, no, you don't really understand what's happening. It's not my phone. It's your phone deciding to say, you know what? We are not going to upgrade RCS and we are going to do this because this is the only way we can remain competitive and keep people to use us for iMessage and FaceTime. Years ago, when I had an Android, when I was on like Android, many people would pay $5 a month just to use iMessage. I was like, I don't know why they ever did that, but I know why because they know most of those people would just go to the Android phones and just pay the $5 a month. Because although I like my iPhone, one of the reasons back in the day, and I used to have, let's see, I had a Motorola Droid, I had a HTC Thunderbolt, I had what was it? A Droid DNA. Then I had a what was it? Samsung S5. Then I had a Google Pixel, the OG. I had a Google Pixel 3. Then I had the Google Pixel 6 or 7, whatever. I had a ton of like Android phones. And of course, even this, so what y'all don't know about me is years ago in 2009, 2010, I wanted to be a phone reviewer. Every day I would get on Phone Dog and dude Noah at Phone Dog was pretty much reviewing the Android phone about every week. So I used to know like about the processors. I used to know about like of course, but back in that time it was like 3G, like all these different things. And so I used to want to do like all the different stuff. So back then I'm knowing like, okay, hey, Samsung had just came out. Their Galaxies like they had different ones. It was like Samsung, like Captivate, I think it was like on AT&T. I don't know. People can go look this up, but Sprint, T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T had all different type of Samsung Galaxy devices, and Samsung had its own version of Android called TouchWiz. HTC HTC had its own version of Android called was it I think it was I don't know if it was Sense. It wasn't Sense. It was something else. But HTC had its own version of Android. Motorola had its own version. So everybody had that was the beauty of Android. Android was open source, but it would let you put your own version of things on top of the software, which of course back then, about 4 to 5 months, Android would be running good. And after that, it wasn't optimized. But in the mid parts of going into like the late 2010s, that's when Android really started catching up operating system wise. And then I think globally, Android actually holds the market share versus iPhone because, truth be told, after Steve Jobs died, it ain't really been a lot of innovation from anything Apple. If we want to be totally honest, if we want to be honest,
Yeah.
when Apple implements RCS, you're gonna see an exodus of people going to get Android phones because they'll be like,
I would do it. I'm not gonna lie. I would do it. Only reason I got it is for FaceTime and them blue messages.
yeah,
That's it.
that's the only
Because the
reason for that.
Android camera is killing iPhone.
Yeah, now the front
The
facing
front one
camera,
and the front one and the back one.
now the front facing one not as good as the front facing one on the iPhone. Cause that's what one of the things Tavion did. He did the side by
He did a
side
review.
test. But I used to
Mhm.
have it too, but like it just was always I love like my Google, like I tell people like right now if you're listening, I might just cut this up so it'd be a Google ad so maybe they can sponsor the show. But the Google Pixel, I would tell everybody it's like the Android iPhone. You get all the updates and it just works. It's a really good, got the best camera ever. Like even back then, like the way it
Is
just
that this
uses,
one?
no, it's not the fold. The Google Pixel uses like machine learning AI to like really get good pictures. Like I gotta go find my thing, but I could show you some like pictures it took back in what is that 2017, 2018 when I had just got my like Google Pixel 2 or 3, and it's like, man, I love like the quality of this thing. Like it was like one of the first phones that had night mode. So
Mm.
we didn't got all topic and y'all didn't really see me nerd out about like phones. I used to go to like I went to school at LA Tech, Ruston, Louisiana. I would go in there and like kind of like challenge the people that sell the phones because I'm researching this stuff. 'Cause I know this, and this. I know what type of at the time like before LTE came on Verizon, it was EV EVDO, CDMA network, one of them networks that was I want to say like the military used for like these walkie talkies and all those communication things. So that's why like Verizon used to always have like a really good signal based on it was like old technology, but it used to work. And I used to do like all this stuff. That's what I want to do in school. I knew about all the phones, like all of them. I had a
Okay,
cousin.
so
Go ahead.
iPhone or Android, and then when you pick that one, I got one more.
Um, if you want me to be honest, Android, because even some stuff like when I use Opus clips, I gotta come to the computer. I can't download them or do them off of my iPhone. I know for a fact I'll be able to download them on Android. So like definitely Android. It's just I like it better, and the fact that everybody like the one thing I hated. I've been back in the Apple ecosystem since 2020, but I mean it was cool. Like your stuff could be blue. You can leave the voice notes and all that kind of stuff. But the individuality that I missed from having like my Android as my main phone, I miss it a lot. Um, I used to do like a whole bunch of
Customizations and
things
stuff.
with it. Like back then, it just was fun. Like you would download like these different text, like different apps to be your main app, so you could do these different things and had these different backgrounds on your texting. It just was for the MySpace era. If you came in the MySpace era, like you definitely would like love like iPhone. I'm actually gonna see if I could like find some stuff from way back then. But what was your question?
O- Okay, and the second question is okay, Android or BlackBerry?
Funny enough, the only BlackBerry I had was BlackBerry Storm.
That was the most popular one anyway.
It
I
was
had the Torch. This one, the one
the one you
you
flip
know.
up. I
Yeah.
had the Storm. The first Storm was
Wait.
trash.
Yeah.
The second one might have been better, but I'm picking Android. I didn't get a chance to really use BlackBerry Messenger. Now,
Cause iPhone.
no, I just got one late. I one of my
Oh, I
friends, he
got one
was
kind of late too, like right on the cusp of BlackBerry and iPhone. So by the time I had my BlackBerry, it was only good for like BBM was only popping for like a year, and then people had started transitioning over to iPhone. But if BlackBerry came out with another BlackBerry, I would so get it. so get it, but they don't make
Really?
them anymore.
So you know,
I
funny enough,
absolutely yes. The keypad, man. What?
I don't even know if I'm gonna have this in the video, but hey, this is a BlackBerry Storm in my hand right here.
Do you know who Phil Wade is?
Yeah,
Did you ever hear his BlackBerry song?
yo side, east side of the bed. I'm from that era.
So
We used to be
you
on.
heard the
We was
song,
on
you
the
know,
internet.
you
Like,
know.
which one?
The
I ain't hear that
BlackBerry.
song. I
I
only know
when
about
he
the Trey
came out with
Songz
that
part.
song, I was like, why won't they sponsor him? It's such a good song. He basically was talking about how a girl reminds him of a BlackBerry because he loved the way she curved, and he named like all the Blackberries, like you bold, uh, bold and beautiful. Let me see,
Oh yeah,
and
look, you can see it
Storm.
for real right here.
Yep.
Hang on. Like I said,
It's the selfies, man. We done came a long way taking selfies.
let me see now and then. Like so, the storm broke, and then that's when I had the jewelry. I used to take some. I don't even really take selfies no more. But I don't know who I used to think I was. Those are good days for me. These kids don't know how good they got it.
Man.
But you know what? Now I think about it, I took so many selfies in the mirror because they ain't had no front facing cameras back then.
No, we was all selfied up in the mirror with the phone.
I
Like
got my first
this.
facing camera on
Look,
this like
this
I
was
thought I
us.
was so cool on this picture. I might post this one day.
I
I don't know who.
had some ugly phones and always a terrible camera. Always, 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 always.
But yeah, so this is me. This is my cousin old number, but like y'all for the Gen Zers that never did this stuff, but like this like the text messages and stuff I used to have back in the day. Like
Oh man.
stuff like
Do you
that.
remember when Instagram was just a total different logo?
Yep.
Oh man.
Trust me. I know they probably feel like I forsake them. Why am I what was I don't know what I'm going through these pictures. I don't know what I used to be on. I took a picture with a statistics book.
Just doing stuff because that's what we would do.
Yeah,
It was
man.
just cuz.
That's all I'm
The
trying to keep
vibes.
on the
Just
picture.
cuz.
I was like, bro, what she was on?
I'm not even gonna go down memory lane with no pictures of me because bye.
Like, it be like that sometimes. But look, man, we didn't like I said, this is stuff is like, I don't know, maybe we could have like an after hours chat on one day. It's like where it's like past the live and now we just start talking about like a whole bunch of random stuff.
Just random topics, yeah.
Cause stuff be popping in my mind. Like I said, the first icebreaker was gonna be like, what's a random movie like thing that like line and like lives in your head? And I think of like so many different movie lines. Like,
Please always let's do that every time.
what's
Because
all right? We gonna end on
we're
that,
movie people, TV people.
right? So
Yeah,
right now we're
we
gonna
are.
end it with that. What's a random TV line or movie line that live in like your head rent free all the time?
Two can play that game. Just how she always, every scene was like, you know what I told her to do. Like I say that all the time, all day to my friends.
Really?
But if you don't speak movie, you won't get it. But yes, I can say that every day. You know what I told her to
I
do.
have
Because she was basically telling them to leave they man. So that's why she just kept saying it.
man. It'd be like so many for me. Like I know like one of my favorite movies is Major Pain. So in my mind, a lot of times I'm like, don't push the maybe, baby. I'm thinking like stupid
I
stuff.
like one tub it.
Mhm.
Two tub it.
We were at Marquise's housewarming and one of the dares was the dude had to do the push-ups. And so I thought about the time when they was making fun of Major Payne when he was gone. He was like, 1, don't you feel dumb? 2, look
Two,
at you.
look at you.
3, don't you ever make fun of me about my like that like all that stupid stuff or like me thinking about Orlando Brown say, go ahead and toot that horn, boy.
Two,
Toot.
two.
All that
I
stuff.
used to watch that a lot when I was a kid with my grandma. I'm sending this video to her actually, and she gonna be cracking up at this particular part right here.
Listen, no, my cousin's like 5 years older than me. He's like, well, how do you like Major Payne so much? It's like, it's the only child, and I watch the movie all the time. Like, I know it word for word. Like, me and my cousin laugh all the time. Like, when they when they made the cupcake to make him pass gas,
Mm-hmm.
and so he's just sitting in the cafeteria, and you don't hear nothing. And then he instead of
He lift
opening
his leg up
instead of opening the can like a normal person, he take the can. He say, "Tuh!"
and got everybody in the hall because you're not supposed to be quiet in there. Everybody in the hall staring at him. He acted a fool on that movie for sure. Or where he was dancing, the little boy, he was getting it.
Uh-huh.
What was his name? Tiger?
Yeah, Tiger. His name Tiger.
Yep.
And then what's her name? And when she say all that stuff to him, he said, I ain't frigid.
I think something else that also lives in my head is any line from Baby Boy. I just can't get that movie out of my head. I hate you,
They
Jody.
named
You
this
make me sick. I stole my car, Jody.
What do you say? Unstable
I
creatures.
stole my car. Unstable creatures. Or when he was his homeboy was, I gotta lie to my girl every day. I gotta lie about going to work, Jody. You know what that feel like? B was cutting up.
Man, my jaw hurt, man. Man, nobody care about you.
Or when he was like, I thought I was dead, man. I thought I was dead.
Guns
Good
and
movie.
butter. See, we shouldn't have. I ain't gonna lie. A lot of the stuff I shouldn't been watching because just like I just thought about that, I think
What?
about,
Yeah.
I stumbled upon like so one of my older cousins when I used to walk like in elementary school, I used to like go to her house in the morning and walk to school, or sometimes I just be over her house. And so she had Don't Be a Menace in South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. So I started watching that
I
over
hate that movie.
$5, Buster.
It's
I
too
said,
ignorant.
do we have a problem?
A problem. It's such an ignorant movie. I can't turn it off, please.
It's a funny parody though, because it makes fun of like all the stupid, like it's so stupid, but it's funny. Hey fool, you just kissed everything in this party. Like all the stupid stuff on there. Like I laugh at. Toothpick.
I like scary. Oh, did you see a new scary movie's coming out?
I didn't.
A new scary movie's coming out. But listen, if Brenda ain't in it.
But you know what's funny? You're gonna be like, I can't believe you didn't watch it. But I ain't really when I was younger, I ain't really care about scary movies. And I'm not talking about in the sense of these scary
all
movies.
of them aren't good. All of them aren't good.
When I got older, that's when I started watching like the Jeepers Creepers or the Chuckies.
Oh, you just mean just like horror, like the genre.
Yeah,
see, that's my favorite genre. If you got any recommendations, leave them in the comments because your girl likes scary stuff.
So you like Insidious?
That's absolutely in the movie theater screaming because it was suspenseful. It wasn't really scary. It was jump scares, but the movie itself was not scary. The scariest movie I ever saw, 13 Ghosts, and they remade that is that a show now?
I don't know. In college, we went to everybody went to go see Insidious 3 in the theaters. Ain't nothing like seeing a scary movie with black people. That made me think
so dramatic.
That made me think about Malibu's on Running. Run, girl, he gonna kill you. That's my movie right there too.
Malibu
on Wanted. Because I think about this is a Christmas present from Uncle Ahmet, and then what's the other show? Somebody was talking about like what's the best goated like movie song, and a real one said my boy was like, man, my boy Kevin G song on Mean Girls. I was like, that's facts.
Mean Girls slap every time. Mean Girls gonna always get a good watch out of me. I don't care what time of day it is or what time of year. If it's on, I'm watching it.
No, so if you
because
say that,
she doesn't even go here. He doesn't even go here.
Hey, listen, I always laugh at when old boy is singing Christina Aguilera and somebody throw the shoe at him, he pick it up and throw it back. Yo,
I love that movie.
Yo, oh, you sucking MCs ain't got nothing on me. To my grace, to my lines, you can't touch Kevin G. That's stupid. But if you talk about movies, then when I got free time, the movie I watched like I ain't never seen before was Selena. Anything for Selena. That started by J Lo.
Stylina.
That started by J Lo crush.
J-Lo ate that roll up. But we gonna give her that. That's the only thing she done never ate up
She did good in The
in
Mother.
that dress. In that dress.
She
I
did
mean,
good in
she's a
Made in Heaven.
wonderful actress. No, she's no. I'm talking about musically. She's a
She
wonderful
wasn't singing.
actress.
Man, J Lo don't be singing.
No,
J
I'm
Lo
talking
don't be
about
singing.
the music she be trying to get us to listen to today. It's a
Man,
no
J
for
Lo don't be
us.
singing. Ashanti was singing a lot in them backgrounds. On Ain't It Funny and
Okay.
all them. I'm Real. Them my jams right there. Ain't gonna lie. That's the next meetup. We doing karaoke.
Now that would be fun. That would
We doing
be
karaoke.
fun.
We doing
I
karaoke.
already know my song.
What's it gonna be?
Tonight is the Night by Betty Wright.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be whatever your song is, the baloney song that we was listening to on the first episode.
Okay. That too. That's next. That's the second round.
Shoot, mine would probably be something like Boss Man D-Lo. Big Za. Nah, it would
That
be
would be fun. Let's put that in motion. It's getting warm.
nah, we can. I definitely gotta do it before I'm tied down. Or it'll probably be like September or something. But nah, definitely. Um it's cool. I might bleed this part on the like extended version Patreon. Cause they're like, man,
Right.
what you leave it talking about? So I'll figure out what I want to do with it. But I'm gonna do this. That's gonna let me know. What would you like to leave the audience with from this episode? Of like, I know like it's like a theme, like people are like probably laughing like all these different things we're covering. It's like how many different ways can you be hacked? It's like it's kind of nuanced, but in the root of all things, it's pretty much the same.
I think I want to leave people with a positive note. So if you are someone watching this and you're trying to break into the industry, keep watching, keep commenting, make sure you're following some of the advice and guidance that, we're providing. But most importantly, make sure you connect with us on LinkedIn. We want to see and hear your success stories. Love seeing, the impact that the videos have on people who are, trying to break into the industry once they've landed that opportunity. That is what it's really all about. So I just want to leave everybody on a positive note. Be encouraged, keep going. If it don't make sense today, it'll make sense later down the line. And that's coming from someone who was just in your shoes.
I don't even know what I want to say anymore. Like, I wish I could talk about the stuff I really know. What my boy on Power said, I'm gonna have to tell what I know. Zeke. But nah, man, I just hopefully hiring managers and directors and CISOs see these things and really understand, hey, you got some people out here that would love to work for your organization, that would love to do a good job for you guys, and they aren't getting that chance to actually succeed because they're being gate kept out of roles that you guys either need or you just want to be greedy with. You're going to almost pay $1 billion you didn't pay $1 billion for the ransom. It almost cost you $1 billion by your systems being down. You do the math of just increasing your payroll by like $2 to $3 million. See how much money that save you? So
Millions.
exactly. Hell, you can do 10 million. At this point, it really don't matter to me. But like just do the right thing
I
and
like
give
that
people a
too.
shot. They need it. Listen, if you need me, give me a call. What's
Actual
that Prince song?
factual.
Uh
What's what song?
what's that Prince song? It's give me a call, 777-9311. Give me a call and I got you. But no,
I
in
like
all
that.
seriousness, I appreciate y'all for rocking with us. If it's not the end of this year, by next year, we are going to do some live shows. So all the stuff that you got here and my Patreon people, y'all seeing the whole episode, that stuff will be on display, but in person. So yeah, I definitely don't want to miss that. But like I always say, until next time, let's stay textual and we out. Peace.